I'm joined by Bill from Willie's Patent Print, a 3D printing enthusiast, maker extraordinaire, and guest at many regional events. Hello, Bill. How are you today?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. Technical difficulties and things.
I hear
What
that.
else is new, right?
If
Oh
you never have
goodness.
any problems, you have nothing to solve.
That's true. That's the beautiful thing about science and creativity and crafting and making and art, all the things. Like Bob Ross used to say, these aren't problems, they're happy little trees. Something along those lines. So, first off, everybody we interview gets 5 questions ish. Sometimes there's follow ups, but your case is unique because you're not
Okay.
just a returning guest. You're also joining the board that produces Nococon this year.
Yes. It is a complete honor to be able to be part of this board. Nococon has been an extraordinary con from previous cons that I've been part of, and I'm going to tell you, it's one of a kind. And I'm extremely happy and extremely honored that I'm part of the board, and I'm extremely happy to see the result of this year.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be pretty freaking cool, if I do say so myself. Although, in fairness, it's mostly James. James is kicking ass. So much good stuff ahead. So many. We have so many guests this year. It's
Oh
ridiculous.
yeah.
In fact, we're drafting you to do interviews with at least one and possibly more guests, depending on how schedules work out. So yeah, in a future episode, you'll be on this side of the screen. So everybody out there, remember to subscribe on whatever platform you're watching. Subscribe, follow, whatever the buttons are. You know what they are, because lots of cool stuff ahead as we count down the days to
Mhm.
Nococon 2024. But we do have a few actual questions for you specifically. You've accomplished kind of a crazy amount of stuff in a relatively short period of time, particularly coming out of 3D printing. I've said before, the first time I saw you was at a maker's fair, and you were so full of enthusiasm and excitement that people could not keep you behind your table. You kept coming out of your booth to like show something to an interested person and whatnot. How did you get started with all of this?
So my first 3D printer was actually bought to me as a birthday gift when I lived in New York City, Queens. And it's because I did not have a space for me to make things necessarily. I couldn't. I mean, no one's going to be operating a table saw or a bandsaw or anything or circular saw in the middle of a 2 bedroom apartment in New York City, Queens. My girlfriend, now wife at the time, and also my landlord would not have really appreciated that.
Fair enough.
So a bunch of my friends, and I'm going to shout out to them, Chris, Sarah, and Jack, and also my lovely wife, actually got together and purchased my first 3D printer. And when I tell you that thing did not stop for 3, maybe 4 months, when I was just like, all right, time that this part that I actually broke it. I'm not even joking. One day I set up a print and literally the printer jammed the nozzle into the print bed, bending the and it was a forceful like hit. Still don't know understand after all the experience I have now. I still don't understand why it happened. Um, and we ended up returning it, and then I got another printer, which was my CR10, which I actually donated to SUNY Poly College here in Central New York.
Yeah, more people having access to this technology because it's not just fun. It's really useful in the way you described how it can save space and make it possible to produce individual things without a full
Hmm.
laboratory of stuff. There's pluses and minuses, of course, but there's also the ability to, during the pandemic, people designed masks with the files for 3D printers, and instead of having, they could just send the file, and then anybody with a 3D printer could print those specialty masks.
Yes,
things like that.
they actually in the five boroughs we actually had a 3D printing community. Shout out to everybody over there who helped with the Mount Sinai Hospital. We actually donated a bunch of 3D printed face shields, which they basically all you do was just took a piece of plastic and it tripped up and you put it on just like a pair of sunglasses and it was a face shield. And it was the frame for that. And we all got together and did that. And I think one donation, it was like 230 something face shields that was donated. And they sterilized them and made sure they were good. And it was good. And when I can tell you the 3D printing during COVID really exploded because for the willingness of people wanting to help. Someone even made a V valve for one of the respirators out in I think Italy or something with 3D printing, which cost like almost $3,000 to make, and then he was able to make it for $2 a pop at home. And the hospital was able to get the ventilators and everything to multiple patients because they were down on ventilators. It was 3D printing can be used for fun. Don't get me wrong, I do it all the time. I mean, but the mechanical aspect of it has been really blew up. It really opened the eyes to individuals during the pandemic.
Absolutely. Another great example that comes to mind is there was that news story a few years ago about how the astronauts on the ISS needed a certain tool that they didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of sending up an entire mission to bring them a specialized wrench, they were able to just print it. Like, you can get tools that you do not have across, like, planetary distance with these things.
I actually have that file. I have that file and I printed it at Nococon. If anybody who's ever over at Nococon, I will have it. I bring it to every one of my events, even including maker fairs. So anyone who's watching the video want to check this wrench out, it's really, really cool. It's a torque wrench that clicks when you reach a certain percentage or a certain amount of measurement.
That's freaking cool. Those are all some of the many, many reasons why it's really cool to make that technology more available to more students, so that the more people who know it exists and understand its potential, the faster the future happens.
Yep. Yep. From the first 3D printer, which was initially an open source project from 2014 to now, it has grown exponentially because of the community. And I give you a perfect example, which is still mind-boggling to me. They are currently in the process of 3D printing organs, like a lung or a heart, or even blood vessels and stuff. And the reason behind that is they're actually taking the DNA from your stem cell from your spine and replicating it into filament. And what they're using it is they're actually resin or even like liquid 3D printing new organs from that. And because it's made from your DNA, your body doesn't reject it.
That's crazy.
It's wild.
As for yourself, what are your goals going forward?
So I made a video the other day. I did some soul searching initially, and I don't know if you saw it. My goals is to start making things that inspire me and things that I want to make. I'm currently right now in the middle of projects. Currently I'm making Heisenberg Hammer from Resident Evil. Because I'm dressing up like Heisenberg to meet Neil. So which I'm super excited to do that. I'm also making a bunch of things for both maker fairs and Nococon as examples. I just made a marble race where it's you drop marbles in and it actually comes up in a conveyor belt and goes down and does an obstacle course and then comes back and rotates again to really show kids about automation and the mechanical properties. And right now, I unrelated on 3D printing, the project I'm currently involved with and kind of like dedicating my time to because it's a huge thing. I'm right now currently trying to get together the pieces and design some pieces and mounts for foam weapons because I'm getting into LARPing very soon.
Mhm.
So I'm getting a full leather suit of armor. I have a plated helmet coming in. I'm making a mount for my back for an axe that I have. So I'm super excited. So I'm like mid project with that.
Hell yeah. Yeah, LARPing is fantastic. It's like the best parts of a Renaissance fair, but with battle.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm and for anybody who is watching this, I'm actually going to be at this year's Grand Batal, or as what we know as Bikalin. So it's going to be a 1 week long LARP festival where you can actually camp and live the life of the Renaissance and actually like geopolitical games, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm super excited. But because what's happening is that I want to be I have this huge axe that's made out of foam, and what I want to do is I want to be able to mount it to my back like God of War. And the problem is that it's such a specific design and a specific shape. I can't really. There's nothing out there for me to buy for it. So I'm actually currently right now catting up and drawing up some mount to the armor that I'm getting, and I'm going to 3D print all that and then coat it in leather and use it as a guide for leather so it can actually have a nice custom mount for my back. So again, 3D printing is not just for like making Iron Man helmets and like props and cool little things like armors, but like you can use it for other practical uses. For an example, what I'm doing is I'm coating this mount in leather, and it's just so I can have something. And you don't want to keep on cutting leather and throw it out, cut it, throw it out, and you have to constantly have to do that. At least now I can make a design and then send it and just keep on printing it if I need to.
Very cool. Very cool. Aside from Nococon, you mentioned the maker fairs, but where else can people find you in the interim?
Interim.
Yeah. There's no fancy words.
Yeah. So right now, I currently have my presence on TikTok, as we all know, and Instagram. I do have a Facebook page floating around, but people could find me pretty much other than doing events here on the East Coast. I'm actually going to be doing an event June 22nd at Heidenberg Meadery in Esperance, New York. And they're actually doing a whole big event where all the donations and everything goes towards music and school programs and stuff. So you can find me there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm super excited. Heisenberg Meadery is actually my favorite meadery, so I'm honored to be part of it.
Very
but
nice.
and then like I said, on TikTok and Instagram.
And it's just Willie's Paint and Print, like
exactly how it says in names. Everything else.
Hell yeah. Very, very cool. Well, thank you, Bill, for joining us today. I'm thrilled to work with you this summer. I'm thrilled for your contribution on the board. I'm thrilled to see what you do when you're hosting episodes. I'm thrilled about everything. It's fantastic.
Oh, we're going to have a lot of fun.
Yes. And to those of you watching, be sure to like, subscribe, follow, comment, all the things. But most importantly, share these videos with basically everyone you know, because we have so much cool stuff coming up. You're not going to want to miss it. Don't make your friends regret not knowing about Nococon after it's already too late. Share it with them now and be a good pal to them. And yeah, my goodness, there's so much. So thank you all so much for joining us, and we will see you this June in Watertown.
See you then.